Okay, I'm joined today by Leah, also known as Island Tennis Girl, on X, formerly known as Twitter, and that's where we've had our interactions before. That's how I know Leah. Um, Basically, you may have heard there's been a big story within the last week. Alex Eala from the Philippines, had an amazing run at the Miami Open. Um, she came in with a wild card, and of course, she's only 19 years of age, and I think surprised pretty much everyone in the tennis world with her run all the way to the semi-finals, and not only getting that far, but beating some pretty amazing players along the way. So um, yeah, Leah joins me from the Philippines. Are you in Manila or we're in?
Yes.
Yeah, you're in
Well,
Manila. Okay,
Metro Manila.
Metro Manila. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And of course, you are a big tennis fan, a big fan of the WTA. And yeah, so I obviously follow Asian tennis on Tennis Asia, and I've followed it for a while, and tennis in general. And Alex Eala is a player that we've been aware of, and we followed. We covered like she won 100 title last year, and that was a big thing for her.
Yes.
And that was a big thing for her, and she'd had some, you know, uh, when she won some matches, or she won a match at Madrid, and I think she that was a wild card she got last year, the 1000 tournament in Madrid, and then I think she took Kirstea to three sets, and
Yes.
she almost got the victory there, but after that 100 title, she I mean, didn't have too many good results. I think she got to a semi in a 125 at the start of this year, but maybe there wasn't great indication yet that we're going to see this kind of run, right?
Right.
Uh, so yeah, did you have any feeling that she had this kind of level of tennis in her?
Yes, but I didn't know how long it was gonna take for her to get there. Like, I have seen her play in some of ITFs and of course her qualifying runs. Oh, well, her qualifying rounds during some of the slams. And I see that she had the tennis to get at least into, in my opinion, at the time, at least top 50 eventually. Like, you could see her, for example, during the third round of qualifying in Wimbledon, she came up against Lulu Sun, who we know went to the quarterfinals in that Wimbledon. And I think she was leading and then she lost her lead, and she obviously didn't get the
Mm,
win, but she was battling with people who were getting there, and it showed me that she had the tennis. Maybe the serve is a weakness, which was the biggest question mark for me actually. And the fact that it always happened to her, like she would get a lead and then she would lose it. That was also a question mark for me, but I thought that that was something that she would eventually, get over with, or like handle or manage better as she matured with age. So, yes, I did think that she had this in her, but I didn't think it would happen like this fast in a single tournament. And
mm.
all of the players that she beat to get to the semis of Miami was really kind of insane. I think it took a lot of people by surprise, even the people from the Philippines who have been following her career, who have been rooting for her for a long time since she won the US Open Juniors. I think that's really when she
Mm.
gained a lot of exposure in the Philippines. Like, she was quite well known, but it was that win that I think made her like not a household name, but people knew of her. And a lot of people have been following her since then. But yeah, I don't think people thought that she would be top 75 by
Mm.
March, or well, it's April now.
Right, and she's just jumped from 140 in the world right
Right.
up to 75, which is a significant jump. Not many players make those kind of
Right.
jumps in their careers. Um, and yeah, just actually, I was had the pleasure of being at the U.S. Open in August, and I got to see her qualifying match that
Right.
unfortunately she lost in the third qualifying round. Um, but she did pretty well. Just couldn't quite get over the line, and it was in three sets. And but I could see how many Filipino fans were there
Right.
watching her in New York. She had big support, and it was a great atmosphere actually. Um, and I get the feeling that we're going to be seeing a lot more of those fans now going forward and on the
For
tour. And
sure.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so before obviously this run, we can talk more about this run. So just you said that obviously she's won the US Open Juniors title, and so she was already somewhat quite well known in the Philippines before this run, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, how well known would you say she was?
It's kind of hard to quantify like her popularity, but
Hmm.
there are very few Filipino athletes in like individual Filipino athletes who do well on an international stage. I'm sure you know, as following sports in Asia, that Philippines is very much a basketball country.
Hmm.
So a lot of Filipinos follow basketball, whether at the collegiate level or like the professional league level. So those, of course, are very known. But individual athletes, there are only a handful of them. Like you can just name them maybe in your two hands or something like that. Like that would be Carlos Yulo, EJ Obiena, Heidelin Diaz, for example. So she would be one of those athletes, especially since she did play in the SEA Games in 2023 and she met Chinwen in the semis, but
Mm.
obviously Chinwen beat her. But yeah, I think she had some quite a steady popularity already, and I remember she had a couple of ads also,
Hmm.
and plus she had the Tatler cover earlier this year as well, so that showed that she was already in the top of mind of people.
And I believe Vogue, is that right as well?
Yes,
Or
correct. Yes, I think Vogue was last year. I'm not sure, but
okay.
yeah.
So yeah, so there was some awareness of her, I guess, and, even beyond just tennis fans, right? So
Yeah.
people who are aware of sports, maybe they know she is sort of a somewhat of a celebrity, right? And then yeah, but obviously this, I think the last week and a half has changed a lot, right? Even uh, given that she was already so well known, but like yeah, I mean, amazing week. I mean, really, um, I know when you were what maybe going into the tournament, you were maybe thinking, oh, she might get like a win or two, and she should probably be happy with that, right? But then yeah, she goes on and beats the player that she does. She first starts off with volley nets, and then I think it was yeah the victory over Ostapenko, which was really the big
Yeah.
game changer, right? She got through in straight sets, um, and then of course she came through against Madison Keys, the current Australian Open champion. Got a bit of luck, I suppose, with
Yeah.
Badoza pulling out,
Right.
but then not that lucky because then she had to face Iga Swiatek, and you're thinking, well, it's been a
This
good
ends
run,
here.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, but then she comes through also in straight sets, and yeah, just so impressive. And then the match against Pagula, I was able to watch fully. I mean, that was a great match, and I thought, maybe if she a few points had gone her way earlier
Yeah.
on, then she might have maybe got the victory. But still, it was a really entertaining match and really impressive for someone of her age. And just yeah, what was For you, what was the most impressive thing, do you think? I mean, there's maybe so many to talk about, but what was the most impressive for you from from
From
Eala's
her
run,
game for or from
or
her run.
from the run, or yeah, you can talk about her game as well.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I've watched her previously for a couple of years already. What in terms of her game, I was really surprised but by how aggressive she was returning in this run. Like she was really taking it to all of these top players and she was returning well inside the baseline. And before I thought that she was a little too passive. Like she would let her opponent dictate and maybe rely too much on her defensive skills. Well, her defensive skills were still, it
Mm-hmm.
still shown during this um, tournament, but I've never seen that kind of returning from her. I don't think so. It was pretty much surprising for me. And the second thing I would say would be her mindset. Like it's so hard to win I'm sure you've seen it time and time again. Like players, up and coming players, would beat one top player, and then the next round they're not able to sustain that round, whether or not
Mm-hmm.
it's mental, physical, whatever the circumstances are. There's so many emotions and maybe also the physical intensity that they had to bring to beat that player was so hard that they weren't able to sustain that. For her to be able to do it with actually, I was very impressed already with the volley nets win, to be honest, because she's a very good defensive player. It's hard to like end points with her. And the fact that Alex was able to do it, I found it quite impressive already. And then Elena and then Madison, and obviously she had a break after that because she didn't play Badosa, but then she played Iga right after. Like to be able to sustain that level of intensity for how many matches and until even with the Pegula match, I thought was so mature and
Mm.
so full of poise for her for
Yeah.
the entire run. And maybe in terms of the run, I could really see how present she was throughout the tournament. Like she would a lot of the commentators would mention this during the commentary that she has a great poker face. Like she wasn't really giving whatever feelings that
Mm.
she had, even if she was losing the point, ahead, whatever. She was sort of like the same. Um, and the sense of presence wasn't just like with the game face, but also in the enjoyment of where she was in this like newfound thing in her career. Like you could see it when she lost to Pegula towards, like her run ended, and the Filipino fans and her other fans were there cheering her on, and you can see her really like taking it in, enjoying it, and being present. I felt like, yeah, that was very impressive for me, considering she's only 19 and this is really her first experience at the 1000 at that level. I think she won, like you said, a match in Miami not Miami, Madrid last year. But this is really like the first time she's ever gone this far in a tournament this big, and to be able to handle herself
Mm.
at that stage, I felt was very impressive. And I think that's also what a lot of people gravitated to, not just Filipino fans who were watching her for the first time, but other tennis fans as well.
Yes. And I agree. Like, I was super impressed with, yeah, of course, the aggressiveness stood out, and the returning, and perhaps that returning was a deliberate decision because she's up against these big players, and she's maybe going to get punished on her serve. And
Yes.
but yeah, she kept up really well, and yeah, she was aggressive, and I think the sort of maybe quicker conditions allowed her to sort of use that pace, and uh, against from her opponents, she's playing some powerful opponents. um and yeah, I think like the even though she lost, like the Pagula match was impressive because okay, I mean, not that beating Swiatek and Madison Keys is not impressive. Of course it is. She beats in straight sets, but maybe like in the Keys match, she was maybe not playing her best. She was making some errors, and sort of so there was no sort of she got through those in straight sets, but then the match against Pagula, huge match in the semi final, she goes down a set and a break, and then the way she came back, I was very
Yes.
impressed with that.
Yes.
And because, like you said, like a lot of players, they have a victory and then they maybe they fall away, but she didn't really all week. You never thought like, oh, this is someone who's just crumbled under the pressure. Really, in that final match, it came down to maybe a few points here and there,
Yeah.
which you can forgive because she's only 19. She hasn't had that much experience at this level. But yeah, I mean, she was playing, like pretty smart tennis, and to do that under pressure is I think so impressive, right? I mean, it was beyond maybe what a lot of us thought she was capable of at this moment in time. But I mean, yeah, it was great to see, and of course this was made big news in the Philippines and captured a lot of people's attention. We talked about in the last podcast we just did. My co-host Alistair, he was saying that one of his friends in the Philippines messaged him saying like, "Hey, they're going crazy for this Alex Eala," and this particular friend has no interest in tennis, so they don't know about tennis. So, so yeah, maybe that's maybe you could shed a little bit more light on how much attention this has got that whole week, for Yala.
Yeah, I think the attention really started, or I started noticing it. So this question is kind of hard because I'm already like a WTA freak, so I watch it every week. So whenever something happens, it's not that surprising to me. But I noticed people started posting about her, people who I've never seen post about tennis before ever in the whole time I've known them when she beat Madison. I think that was like sort of the turning point for a lot of people here, or maybe because Madison had more name recall, having just won the Australian Open, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
Ostapenko's slam was quite a while ago, so I don't think a lot of people in the Philippines know who she was. But Madison, yes, they definitely know. And then, of course, it was followed by the Iga match, and that really that was insane. I think a lot of people went crazy. Like, is this really happening? Um, and I saw a lot in at least my limited sphere. People started getting interested
Mm-hmm.
um in her run and maybe asking where they could see it, where they could watch her next match, which was going to be, well, Pegula at that time. The problem was that I think access here to tennis matches
Mm-hmm.
in the Philippines is a bit more complicated. Like it's hard to find, you either have to be a cable subscriber, but I actually think the cable TV shows ATP, not WTA, if I remember correctly. So what happened was that ABS-CBN, one of the bigger broadcast networks in the Philippines, decided to stream her Pegula match on YouTube. It actually now has 1 million views. I just checked before before we talked. So I guess they bought the rights or something to be able to stream it, and of course that was free on YouTube. So there were 1 million people watching that, and that was in the middle of a work day. That was what I
Mm.
think 10 a.m. to 12 noon
Yeah.
or something like that. So people were actually watching it, I guess, while they were working or something. Yeah, I feel like it really reached a fever pitch after the Iga win, because that was huge. Like I think a lot of people, even if they don't follow tennis, they sort of know who she is, at least by name. Like my friends who don't really follow tennis, they know Iga, they know Sabalenka. So the fact that Alex Eala beat Iga Swiatek was insane to them. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really when all of the coverage started happening. Not just I think for Filipinos, but the interest also within the tournament. Like there were more interviews coming out, so it was really feeding into the whole media exposure. And then she's also pretty smart. Of course, she's
Mm.
lived in in the social media life. She posted this meme, like a trending audio in the Philippines. I don't think
Mm,
people outside of the Philippines will get it because it's a very Filipino joke. But like the audio was saying that bigla kang sumakses, which translates into you suddenly reach success. But then if you look at it, it's actually step by step, but you feel like it was sudden. That was like the translation of the audio, but in a very
okay.
funny way. And that just, I think she was able to meet the moment
Yeah.
with what was happening and like show a part of how she felt,
Hmm.
like what through that, like, it wasn't really like her own voice, it wasn't really her own words, but the fact that she posted it at that moment, I thought was really funny, really great. And yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw that post,
Oh,
but of
okay.
course I didn't understand what she was saying, so it's nice to get that insight into that. Yeah. I mean, she has quite a outgoing, warm personality, so that
Yeah.
probably helps as well in capturing people's imaginations. And yeah, just a really great story. And yeah, I mean, I think yeah, it was good to hear that you saying that like it was being streamed on YouTube, and I guess it was on other channels as well, getting a lot of attention for tennis. And perhaps we'll be seeing you'll be getting more coverage of WTA and her matches, at least
Hopefully,
in the
yeah.
future. Yeah, coming up. And I mean, saw as well. I mean, even Manny Pacquiao tweeted as well about giving her
Mm-hmm.
congratulations. So
Okay.
yeah, it's obviously getting a lot of attention, and maybe it's creating a bit of pressure for her. But I suppose it's good to
Yes,
have that
for
pressure.
sure. For sure. I think the Miami Open is going to be the last tournament that she is ever pressure free, at least for Filipinos. And I'm sure that she knows this because she's always kept the fact that she's representing the Philippines at, like, in every time that she has a big win, she would reference this, even like as far back as the US Open Junior. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting seeing how she responds to this newfound pressure for her to continue this run and do well, like especially on the clay season, where for the first time she'll have direct entry to Roland Garros, which she hasn't qualified through the
Yeah,
qualifying rounds. Yeah.
yeah, she should be
Yeah, she should be, but I'm
in
not. It's
Roland
not
Garros.
guaranteed, but yeah.
I think she should be now, but
Okay.
probably knowing, yeah, because it's around top 100, and I doubt you know she'll probably keep that, at least that ranking, right?
Yeah.
But um, I'm not sure when we're next going to see her. Perhaps in Madrid, because she'll get another. What does she need a wild card now? But yeah.
I don't
um,
know how many. What's the draw in Madrid? How many players? Not
it's a big one, isn't it?
96.
Is it?
Yeah, I think she might get direct
It's
entry. Might. I'm not sure.
yeah. So she might not even need the wild card now, which is yeah. That's how far she's risen in such a short time. And yeah, I mean, maybe she can do well there. I mean, it's the conditions maybe suit her a little bit more than a typical clay court. So um, yeah. So I mean, what are your expectations then? Sort of. I mean, should we expect too much from Eala this year? What do you think?
I want to say yes, but I don't want to be the one to put that pressure on her. I mean, I honestly just want her to, like, I feel like this is more of going to be a growth kind
Hmm.
of like year for her. I think she discovered things about herself in the
Hmm.
Miami tournament that probably she didn't know that, or maybe she suspected that, yeah, I have it, but now I see it for myself that I have these whatever these things. So I feel
Hmm.
like it's just gonna be hopefully a year of discovery for her, like learning things, how things work. And even though, yes, I said that she was not gonna play pressure free anymore after this, I feel like every tournament, at least for the rest of the year, this is like her first year that she would really be experiencing like the pro tour in depth. So I
Hmm.
think it will still be like new experiences for her, especially going through like
Hmm.
the different surfaces, the different tournaments and especially if her ranking goes higher, especially then we expect her to play a much fuller WTA calendar than she has ever had because last year was really mostly still ITF levels.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that she will continue to build on what she has shown in Miami. I just don't know if she will get to like QF semis, maybe not. And if she doesn't, I don't think that means that she's regressed or anything like that.
Hmm.
I think it's more of yeah,
Yeah.
she's young. She has room to improve, develop.
Yeah, and of course, the other players will be well aware of her now,
Yes.
and they won't be underestimating her for sure. But yeah, I mean, now with her ranking, she'll be able to get in a lot more, yeah, of these WTA tournaments, and I expect, yeah, it's still going to be a growth period because you get to play different surfaces, yeah, and different styles of players and better players than she's been playing before. But that's okay, and I think yeah, there might be a few early losses here and there, but yeah, I mean, a lot of players it happens like they step up to the WTA and then it's a little bit difficult at first, but then they find their feet and then they start winning. So it could be something like that for her, and yeah, I think now she's at 75. Perhaps she'll be thinking maybe I can get top 50, but we'll have to wait and see. And that's great though because a lot of people, not only in the Philippines and around the world, they're going to be excited to watch and see how she does. And perhaps I saw her in the qualifying. She was unlucky last year with some of the qualifying. She got to the third rounds and just failed.
Yeah.
But yeah, now finally we're able to see her in a few more main draws, hopefully, and in the slams, and yeah, maybe the US Open as well, which would be great. Obviously, she won there as a junior, and just so many Filipino fans there that will be there to support. I'm sure there'll be a lot of them. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and yeah, I'm hoping to see be able to maybe make more videos like this and talk about her successes. But anyway, Leah, thanks for joining me. Island Tennis Girl is your handle on X and Twitter, so you can please give her a follow. She's you put out a lot of detailed tweets, of nice analysis there. I enjoy reading your tweets. So yeah, it's if you're
Thank you.
interested in tennis, WTA, right, especially, then you can give her a follow. Okay, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you. Nice chatting with you.